very much my fuel. And then I do the whole song and dance for them, in a sense. I'll put on the music, I'll say, take this, listen to the soundtrack, listen to the playlist in your car. I mean, Monsoon Wedding, it got off just because of the music. And not the music that you finally heard, but the kind of music there would be. But basically, I make those worlds come alive for the money. And I'm very cheeky. I don't beg, and I'm not grateful. I tell them that if they don't do this, they'll never no one will do this. So you could be the first to do this. But I also advise you as beginning filmmakers, although you don't look like one, to lie and to scam. Like for Salam Bombay, which was my first feature film, and I've made 5 documentaries, but nothing counts when you're doing, the next kind of form. I went to Channel 4 in England, who had actually financed the earlier documentary on India Cabaret, and they very nicely said, we'll match whatever you raise. So I had to raise $860,000, which was absolutely awesome. I could not even imagine that, because I had raised only $150,000 for a documentary until that time. So I set about trying to get matching money, but no one was giving it to me because I was no one and I had nothing to show. So I went to the Indian government, the National Film Development Corporation, who Ritesh will tell you they're draconian. I mean, they don't really do this very often, but whatever, they offered to give me $150,000. And they owned a lot of the territory for that money, but I needed the money. But I scammed with Channel 4 and I said I had 300 because I needed 450 to start the shoot. And Channel 4 kind of winked and knew that I didn't have the whole thing, but they gave me 300. So it was 300 and 150, and I blew all of it on really superb shooting. Because that's the other thing. I also grew up on, as you may have, a third world cinema always looked like sucked. It looked awful, it was out of focus, it was not projected well, it didn't look like all the great European or Japanese films I loved, So we were determined to do that well. So that's why the wad was blown, on the shooting itself. We shot in 35, we shot with diffusion materials, we shot with proper lights. We did all that on the streets of Bombay. But at night, after the shooting was done, I would get on the phone because of time difference was on my side. India is 10 hours ahead. And I would call, Paris and London and, anybody, rich aunt, this, that, anybody I could call. I would call, and this French, being very clever, came in around the 6th week of shooting for the balance 33% of the film, and then I got to. It was funny because I was completely poor, but I had to spend the entire post-production in Paris as a result, and they have really good food in Paris, and they gave me 500 francs a day that I had to spend in Paris. So I just got fat and fatter and fatter, and then I ate croissants and wine and the whole nut, and I rolled into Cannes, looking like a tub, and showed this film, and then the film was a phenomenon and really a hit. We won $50,000 in the Camera d'Or, and that was my debt, exactly my debt, was 50 grand. So I paid off my debt. So that was how a first film gets made. And then you refine the lies and you refine the stuff. I'm joking. Then you become, then maybe I can tell you all the good things. But basically, still with making such films, if you're not making 2 white people in a room in Los Angeles saying, I will, I won't, then you have to do all this. You all probably have to do that too. But you have to make your worlds in the cinema that you're trying to make be real and palpable for the money, And it's not easy. It's still not easy. It depends on the content of what you're trying to make. If it's conventional, it's a love story, they can relate to, it might be different. But I somehow never end up making those.
This should probably cheers. This should probably be an aside, but I'll tell you a funny story. 6 months ago, I was in a pitch, and I was doing this pitch, and for some of the usual suspects you may know. And at the end of the pitch, the guy says, when Mira Nair comes in a room and pitches, it's so electric and it's so, you know, alive and then he went on about your pitches for a bit. And then I was like, are you telling me this because the pitch was bad or because I'm Indian? Which was probably both, but I'm glad you asked the question. We have time for one more question, they're telling me. So, should we go with front row?
Hi.
Hello.
Do you believe in making shots before you can? Do you believe in making shots before making feature if you don't have the money?
Well, actually, I've made a lot of shorts. I love making shorts films, not necessarily before a feature or anything, but just because I think shorts are. I've made only one commercial. I don't really go out there and make commercials, but I love making short films because they are really teach me the rigor of making cinema. You know, of making a story in such a short time and making every single moment count. So that's why I believe in shorts, because also there's a great freedom in the politics of shorts. I made a film called it was part of an anthology. How can it be? Yeah, a film about about a woman, a very devout Muslim woman who leaves her husband to be the second wife of another man. And this is a true story.
The one with
that-
Konkana, I saw this.
It's really
it's really
with
great.
Konkana
Yeah, it's amazing.
playing it, and
Yeah.
it's really it's a story that I probably could not have made a feature from, and I didn't even want to. I just wanted to make the story of the moment she decides to leave and how she's waiting to leave. You know. Anyway, it needed a short film to make to do that. So, I mean, if you're starting out wanting to be a feature filmmaker, yes, of course, it's a good calling card to have a short film. But I love to make shorts even between things, you know, because it keeps me on my toes and it enables me to just, you know, hone the craft. We've got to keep honing the craft, you know. And our craft is so collaborative, so much money it needs, so many things it needs, that you've got to hone your craft any which way you can. And many film friends of mine make commercials and say to me that they are doing that because they're learning the new toys and everything. But I don't. I remember making a perfume commercial with Uma Thurman, and I felt so. I said, Uma, you know, you have to do everything in this commercial that I would never let you do in a film. Like, you know, smell something and think, you know, like completely fakery, total magic fakery. And but so I don't like to do all that. I like to make real things. So therefore shorts. Yeah.
Let's steal another minute.
Yeah,
Let's steal one more.
actually 5.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes, you.
Thank you. Monsoon Wedding will always be my favorite. But the bridges in the movie, the film name, just
The namesake.
the namesake.
The bridges, did you
The
say?
bridges.
Yeah.
Talk to me about those. There's so many bridges.
East and West.
Well, you know, the bridges of Calcutta and the bridges of New York City, it is a big visual echo in each other, you know. And the whole film of Namesake is really based on dislocation and home and nostalgia and so on. But, you know, in just a sort of, once I found the symbol of the bridges and once I found the graffiti in both cities, you know, the salam, as I say, to politics and art in both cities of New York and Calcutta. These were the two pillars that I rested the entire visual treatment of the namesake on. That she, you know, Ashima is giving birth, you know, near the Queensboro Bridge, and instead the Queensboro Bridge becomes the Hooghly Bridge, which her mother was watching in Calcutta and dreaming of her daughter giving birth, for instance. So these are visual metaphors that as filmmakers we need to have, and the moment you find something that can speak to you like that, that is about the theme of the film, it's a great joy, you know, and it's a great exploration. And I also had the incredible privilege to work with one of the legendary cinematographers, Fred Elms, in The Namesake, who did a lot of Cassavetes films, a lot of great films, the Blue Velvet and many others. And Fred really understood that idea so beautifully, you know. And it was also his first time in India, and he brought to it a certain sort of elegant, kind of crystalline view. I just loved how he sees, and it was very much in accord and taught me and you know, took me much further. So So these are the joys, you know, of making stories with collaborators who take you further than you even know. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
we're out of time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone stay seated because we have another special guest. You're going to see him in Netflix's The Last Airbender. Please welcome